Hi, this is Chai from Office. Just want to give you a part one introduction to AWS versus Azure, which is a presentation we did at eClub in July 2015. In this version, we talk about compute, networking, and storage. And the reason we provide a comparison for multiple clouds is because we're a multi-cloud provider. We want to help you orchestrate and automate and provide self-service and all the flexibility that comes with the cloud, but with governance and control. So we want to provide migration to the cloud and also cloud mobility. So I hope you enjoy this presentation on AWS versus Azure.
Can I have a show of hands who here is using AWS as a production environment right now? All right, there's about three. Three, great. Azure? That's great. Okay, there's some of them are just two clouds. You need to talk to us about right scale. So I'm going to go through this slide fairly quickly, and I'm not going to read through the slides, and you guys can read it already. Amazon Compute calls their environment EC2, which essentially is a virtual machine. And within that virtual machine, there's multiple of types of instances, and each types you're probably looking at one focusing on more compute, one focusing on more memory, storage, network, and it comes down to your workload, what you require it for. Some applications require more memory, some applications require more CPU. So we'll just go through it quickly. You've got the general purpose one, which is the T2 and the M3. They're the general purpose EC2s, and the difference between them really is just the T instance type is for burstable. What that means is that your application doesn't demand certain amount, and over a period of time, if it needs more, it'll burst up by 1 minute, and it creates credit. And then the M1s is more of a consistent running environment, and it's great for your web servers, I suppose, that you want to run it for. You have your C class, and that is more for compute, 36 CPU, 60 gigs, and what's the workload for that? High-end web servers, your application data analysis that you need to run on that, and then you've got your G range, and G stands for graphics, so GPU, graphics process unit, and again that's to do with your encoding and focusing more on the RAMs, and then you got your R range, and R, for me to remember it, is for RAM, and you can actually see 32 vCPUs, 224 gigs of RAM, and they've just you got your I range again. That should actually be 30. No, that's 36. That's right. Yep. Storage, and then density storage is D2. We don't know too much about D2. It's just been made available. It's fairly new, and like AWS, they just keep releasing new features, and I'm pretty sure we finished this conversation and there'll be something that's coming along the market. And again, you'll notice that you've got M3s and M4s. M3s are older host, older hardware, and then you got the M4. And if you see this in your calculator, your AWS calculator, we recommend going with the M4 because they just make it cheaper in terms of cost when you're actually selecting your environment. Chai, over to you.
Microsoft are also equally boring in their naming conventions, so we recommend we should change those. The G series, I've heard it called Godzilla, because that's the biggest one they got. The little ones up here, the A series ones, are general purpose ones, so they're kind of little mayflies that you spring up and then you upload, download. It's actually hard with this on. That was a bad idea. So A0 to A7, they're the general purpose ones. They're up to 8 CPUs, 16 gigs of RAM, bit of storage. That's the general purpose ones. They have network optimized ones because sometimes you need a faster networking between servers. So that's the 8 and the 9. And then they went to the 10 and 11 series here, which is compute optimized. All that is the same as network optimized without good networking. So it's just same high CPU here, 16 CPUs, 112 gigs of RAM up there, but there's no InfiniBand, basically. That's what that is. Then they started the D series, which is the compute optimized. You can see here they've got more CPU and more RAM in that series. The idea of this D series is it's 60% faster because they re-architected it. Similar to M3 versus M4, this is the new architecture that will allow you to get better, up to 6% better performance for roughly the same price is the claim that they make. Storage Optimize is coming out basically next month, although it's been a little while in there looking at here. We're going to basically terabytes of storage you can have attached to your server, which will be your secondary drive. So you are limited in your primary C drive, but after that you can expand that. In the Performance Godzilla series over here, 32 CPUs, 448 gigs of RAM. Unfortunately, you can't have it. It's just not available in Australia, so they're not available. There is an advantage for Australians in Azure because we can run infrastructure in the Sydney and Melbourne data centers, and all the other countries can't unless they have an office here. So we can take over the world, they just can't invade us. All right? Just in terms of pricing, which we'll cover in a little bit more detail later, anything that's in Australia is, of course, more expensive, between 5 and 40% for both of us. That's, we're just higher value. So that is the case. There is a discussion later on about pricing, and we'll go through those in detail. Yep. Back to you, Phanh.
Thanks, Chai. Storage. Amazon has about 4 types of storage. They define themselves with object storage, block storage, elastic file system, and that's a new system. And I'll go a bit more detail about that. You've got your glaciers, and then down the bottom here, we put in there, but unfortunately that's not available in Australia. But I'm going to mention one more thing, and that is ephemeron storage. It's a storage that you can select in the AWS portal. The issue with that, and the reason why we haven't selected that, you shut down the machine, you terminate the machine, that storage is gone. So just be mindful of that. And the reason why is because it's based on host, it sits on a host, and if you shut down and terminate the machine for whatever reason, you decide require it again, it powers it up. What happens is it migrates to another host, and then other hosts will have a different storage. And so, you're not going to get that back. Just be mindful about it. Great for paging files, great for caching, but I wouldn't recommend using it for live data because you'll just, cry after it actually removes itself. The S3 object storage, you can see here 99.99s for durability, and that's scattered across the multiple availability zones, the edge devices are located. And it's designed to be able to store data, to retrieve data, predominantly for the web environment. And use case for that, and I've got the notes here, backup, object storage, utilization for CloudFront, and I'll talk a little bit more about CloudFront later, and that's pretty much the CDN environment. The next is elastic block storage. It's a storage that you actually mount on your EC2. So let's call, when you're powering up a machine, you've got the C drive. EBS will be your D drive and your F drive, or whatever drive you're required for. It's a faster storage. It's directly attached to the EC2, and the IOPS in there can range depending on the actual size of the data, and it actually grows. So the more data, so the more storage you provision in AWS, the more IOPS you're going to be getting. The next one is elastic file storage. That's fairly new. It's designed as a shared file server, and it's directly attached to an EC2. And the use case for that is really if you have your user's home directory, or you have a shared file that you require, and you can actually mount this across all your instances. And again, your instances will be your EC2. And then you got your Glacier. It's a slow storage Glacier. It's predominantly used for archive and not backup. And the difference is really, the archive is you throw something in that storage knowing it's going to be there. And there's very little chance you're going to retrieve that data back, because you're going to get charged from the amount of data that you pull back. And you're also going to get charged how fast you want to do it. And again, so that's for archive. S3 you can probably put into as your backup because you can pull that down, pull that out, and put it in, and it'll be able to retrieve the data a bit quicker. Import, export, it's not available in Australia. The idea behind that really is they give you a device, put it into your environment, it's a storage, and you can actually save the data in there, and it actually does a whole bunch of buffering, caching, and speeds up your internet and pushes all your contents over to AWS if you want to migrate your contents, and a large amount of contents. So yeah, Chai?
We're going to talk about something really exciting here called Blobs. Another imaginative name from the IT industry. In Azure, they have a concept called storage accounts, which doesn't mean you have to have any computers at all. It's just a storage area, and it's called a storage account. And you can have up to 100 unique names of storage accounts, like my stuff, your stuff, blue stuff, red stuff. Put it all in there, it's called them Blobs. If you want to have fast access to something without an SQL database, you can use tables. It's a very simple table, no SQL table, very fast. Queues, obviously if you want to have any kind of queues, that's what that's for. The interesting thing about them is they have concepts called zones. There's local, zone, and then geographical redundancy. There's another one which is read-only geographical redundancy, so there's another option. A local zone is within Sydney, they will make 3 copies of anything that's in your blob. So that doesn't help you if you delete a file. Okay? It just means if something broke in their data center, they've got 2 more copies and you're okay, and there's auto failover. So if you make a mistake, it's still a mistake. You need backup. That's down here. When they go to multiple zones, what they will do is you get 6 copies. You get 3 in Sydney and 3 in Melbourne. Each of the zones within Azure environment has to be more than 600 kilometers away. I'm shocked that Americans use kilometers. 600 kilometers. Normally it's in pounds and miles, but 600 kilometers. So in order to get the SLAs, the best SLAs, you must have geographical redundancy. If you only put it in one environment, if you're doing a testing and it's only temporary and you don't, you just use it in a local zone, it's less expensive, but it's only in one zone, but you're going to shut it down within an hour, who cares? But if you want it to be there all the time, then you've got to have multiple zones and you want to use geographical redundancy. Now, geographical redundancy means if Sydney was hit by a nuclear bomb, God forbid, everything will run in Melbourne. Awesome. But it only works in a failover mode. Okay, the storage is only working in failover mode. If you want to be able to read from Melbourne as well as in Sydney because you have clients in Melbourne, then you want the read-only geographical redundancy, and you can also back up from the geographical redundancy. So I don't know if that's available on the other side, but we have that over here.
We've got lots. We have lots of 9s.
Yeah, we got lots of 9s.
You've got 9 9s.
We got 3 copies in each location. We've got 6 basically, right? And we got geographical load balancing.
Ours just works.
So does ours.
Cut it out, come on.
What does that mean?
So you're just saying to pick at each other a little bit.
All right, got it. Primary storage is a new feature. It's in preview mode, and it is becoming available. That's only available if you have a virtual machine. You can't attach that as just a blob that you access. It's got to be attached to a machine to get it, but it is blindingly fast. We have some guys here that can lecture me on what IOPS are, wherever Nick is over there. Every time I say IOPS, he gives me a disclaimer. On the Microsoft website, with their disclaimer, it says 64,000 IOPS. Is that good? It's all right. It's a lot better than what you get in your standard environment. It is actually premium. It actually is very good. Locally redundant. Now, I must read the important note, because I've got to get the wording right here. Okay, if you create your data in one of these geographical redundancy zones, you can't move it. So you can't transfer it to another type. And once it's here, you can't just reduce it back down to local or zones. So once you're in the highest level, you can't go back. You're going to pay the most and it'll be the best, and that's all you got. Can't go backwards.
Chai, there's a question from the floor over here. Why not?
I think it's almost going to be impossible for you to go and delete one without the other and the replication. And also, they're already getting your money. Why would they go backwards?
I think the way you can do it is actually transfer your files.
You can copy it. You can copy it, yeah.
Into a different environment.
You can copy it to another one that's only a local zone, but you can't downgrade it. They want you to keep paying for it.
Yeah.
The other one is
terminate it, yeah.
Yep. So if you choose your GRS, then you can't go backwards. That's really the main important number that's there. So so you need to have that. And again, it's not yet available. It's new. It's been discussed. file storage, which you would think file storage would be here, because blobs are essentially a bunch of files. What they mean by file storage here is SMBs and CIFS compatible. So if you want to refer to that storage in a VM in that particular way, then that's coming. It's not yet available. It's been coming for quite a while, and it's not yet here. But it will be here. Clearly, they have backup, and it's not backup in the same way that Glacier is a backup, which is you just dump it there and you pull out a bit later on if you need it. This does backup in terms of your actual images, your files, and also it can simulate what looks like tapes and works with tape drivers. So you think it's a
we
tape.
can do that too.
It's becoming very personal all of a sudden, isn't it, really? You know? I didn't invent this, right?
You copied Amazon, but that's right, okay.
Okay. Yeah, they did, and you know, sometimes people who copy make it better. Import, export, it's fantastic in the US. So if you want to put a data center there, that's where you want to export, import it. Basically, you go to the website, you get an order for a storage device, you put the storage device, you create a key, you back it up, you send them the key separately to the backup device. The device goes via DHL or FedEx. So FedEx in the US, DHL in Asia. Australia's not part of Asia, apparently, according to Microsoft. And yeah, you can copy your data across and look after it and unlock it and give you access to terabytes of data. Not available here. But if you come and see us, we'll help you solve the problem.
Networks, virtual private cloud. You can't set up an account in AWS without having a VPC. That essentially allows you to create a whole bunch of internal IP addresses, your subnets, your security groups, bind all your machines together and able to communicate them underneath, you know, the internal network, as you want to call it, in AWS. The VPN, every VPC that you create, you get the ability to create a site-to-site VPN, and that is that you get Amazon has a group of static IP addresses, and you have your VPN concentrator, it taps into it, and you have kind of a virtual private link through the internet to Amazon, and that's, you know, your data are encrypted, and so people can't sniff and whatever you need to do. Direct Connect, that's pretty much a layer 2 connection. There's only 2 providers in Australia that will offer that solution. We're talking about Global Switch and Equinox, whatever you want to call, however you want to call it. And really, it's just a connection from your data center into Equinox or Global Switch, and it allows it to then connect from that data center into AWS, and so you can get up to gigabits of data going through, and you know, layer 2 connection, which means you don't pay for bandwidth, it's faster. Off-site backup is probably one of the things you might want to use to do that. So, you know, you've got your corporate network, you've got a corporate environment. I want something fast to back up into off-site somewhere else. Direct Connect's the way to go. Elastic Load Balancer. The name speaks for itself. It's a load balancer. You can run it as a public load balancer. You can run it as an internal load balancer. So, you know, traffic comes in, hits the load balancer, directs traffic to different availability zones within AWS, and then you've got Route 53, and you know, those are technical enough to be able to. 53 is for the port level for your DNS, and you know, that's the DNS. You can run it as a public DNS. You can run it as a private DNS. You know, people tell www.amazon's going to win this .com. You can direct that traffic to Phanh, and it will tell you. But obviously, Phan's an IP address, and then you can also do internal too. So you can do internal IP address within itself. Limitation of that is if you're outside the VPC, you can't query the DNS Route 53, but you can probably mix it up with the internal DNSs within your corporate network. Chai?
The virtual private cloud VPC concept is very similar to the Microsoft virtual network concept. In fact, the virtual network only came out in 2013. So I was talking to Bart earlier about security. There were a whole lot of things that large enterprises were struggling with Azure, and they've resolved almost most of them now, and they've resolved them pretty much within the last 2 months, all the bits that were being seriously asked for. So there's a heavy investment in terms of security with Azure. In fact, their world domination plan, you'll see a little bit later on when we go to the AD section. Everyone likes to rename all of this. So this is actually, you know, client VPN and then site-to-site VPN. They've called it point-to-site, but it's basically the same thing. They have an extensive list of devices that you can connect to via VPN, because VPN is not one thing. There's multiple protocols, multiple devices, multiple versions of different routers and things. There's an extensive list on their website that you can go to, and when we do the white paper, we'll list out where all those links are. You can find them. ExpertRoute is very similar to Direct Connect. There's quite a few providers. I think there's 4 in Australia that will offer you the Direct Connect. If you do the site-to-site VPN, up until very recently, you can only get 100 meg per second connection. Even if you had a gigabit router on your own, too bad for you. They only support 100. Now they'll do bonding with 200 megabits per second. The express route is 1 gig. So if you connect to them, you can get up to 1 gig. And if you have a lot of data, it's going to be worth it, but it is a lot of money. You are getting a private link just for you, no shared. Obviously, this is encrypted. Traffic Manager is their DNS, and the load balancer is within your private network. You can do the load balancing between multiple virtual machines, but this will give you geographical redundancy between machines. It'll also let you pick, based on the customer or the location of the user, which region you go to. If you have service in multiple regions, Traffic Manager will do that. I think there's Route 53 does it as well. The DNS component is actually very basic. I think in both of them, we would say they're fairly just the fundamental components. If you want anything more than that, we support Bring Your Own. So you can, and there's other providers out there that are already using very high-level features of DNS, and we would recommend you also have a look at those. But if you want to make a short list, come and see us. We've already got the short list.